Welcome to Sparks of History, where world history and Jewish history meet. Today, we are pleased to host Professor Matthew Hockenos. Professor Hockenos is chair of the Department of History at Skidmore College in New York. Professor Hockenos is the author of A Church Divided, German Protestants Confront the Nazi Past, and has written extensively on Christian-Jewish relationships, anti-Semitism, Nazi Germany, Protestantism. And today we'll be discussing Professor Hockenos' fascinating page turner. Then They Came for Me, Martin Niemoller, the pastor who defied the Nazis. And we'll get right to it. A little bit about your background and how you became interested in Martin Niemoller.
Okay, so I earned a BA and a PhD in history, and my focus was always modern European history and specifically 20th century German history. As an undergraduate, I took an intellectual history class where I read Dietrich Bonhoeffer's prison notebooks, and Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a colleague of Martin Niemoller. And so I became sort of intrigued in German church history, even as an undergraduate. And then as a graduate student, I wrote a dissertation on how the German Protestant Church was coming to terms with its complicity in the Nazi era between 1945 and 1950. So I was looking at the post-Holocaust period and how the church was coming to terms with its own role in the Nazi era. And then that dissertation ended up finding its way into a book form, and a key player sort of in the coming to terms with the Nazi past in the German Protestant Church was Martin Niemoller. In fact, he was kind of very central in the efforts to get the church to recognize its responsibility, its complicity in the Nazi era. He didn't have a whole lot of success, but he was a strong voice on reforming the church after 1945. And so it's hard not to be interested in Martin Niemoller. As you probably grasp from the biography, he has a fascinating history. Born in 1892 and doesn't die until 1984. That means he's 92 years old and lived through all these fascinating moments in German history. So when I sort of came into touch with him during the book on the post-war church, I thought, someone has to write a biography about him. And there are some biographies, but two of them were published in 1956. So he was still alive. And the other was published in 1984, the year he died. And so I thought it was time for a new one.